Hello, and welcome back to Legacy of Leaders, where we interview the brightest and most interesting leaders in the community. And today is no different. I'm your host, Whitney Mincey, joined by very special guest, Mr. Maurice Buchanan from Wurk. Welcome.
Thank you, Whitney, for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here talking about work and also a little bit about leadership, of course, because that's what we talk about on Legacy of Leaders. So for those that are not familiar with Wurk, tell us a little bit about it.
We're just an overall general fitness gym. We have an emphasis on boxing and MMA for professional and amateur fighters, but that's pretty much the gist of it. There's not a lot of flash stuff. We're pretty common, which is what we want it to be. Nothing unique about us. That's what we strive to be. So that's the general overall feel for the gym.
Okay. And so is that what makes you guys different? It's kind of no fluff, no frills?
Yeah, I would say so. Like for us, that's what we'd like it to be, like it to be, because the fitness industry has boomed over. Like it's immeasurable, like the amount, the heights that's reached, and now with the content creating component of it, now like everyone's trying to do more and more and more, and then what we feel like the overall message of like being healthy and well is kind of getting lost in the creation of content. We can get it back to. It's simple, it's easier, is what it should be. Like if we can be no frills, like that's what it should be with your health. It shouldn't be something that's over the top, because if it generally is, that's tough to mimic. That's tough to duplicate over and over again. So our message is it's simple. It should be pretty low key. Like our focus is not about being truthful and honest about people taking care of themselves.
Yeah. And so how did you get into this?
I've been doing this. I'm a dinosaur. I'm old. I've been doing this for 22 years. I did. I'm old.
I don't believe it.
But I did sports growing up. I played college football. I ended up getting injured when I played football, and during my rehab process, I had to go through a series of like different type of practices and PT events. So I had to learn a little bit more about the human body a little bit more, and then just through that practice, I fell in love with just learning more about the human body. So then I switched majors to kinesiology at the University of Minnesota, and then from there, kind of went to kind of the gym and fitness route, and then the last, I think, 10 years or so, opened up our own business, and then 6 years ago, this August, we opened up this facility in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Well, you talked a little bit about, the trials and tribulations make you learn about your body, but I'm sure they make you learn about your mind also. So in regards to leadership, how would you say your journey or maybe the gym has helped you to kind of cultivate that mindset of leadership?
It's been like, I don't know how to even describe it. Like we opened up the gym in 2019 and COVID hit. So then like we got thrown a curveball immediately. And it's just myself and my business partner. Mm-hmm. So we had to buy like everything. And, obviously when you first open something up, you're looking at like, man, why us? But the adversity we had to go through, the leadership we had to have for each other, like we had to do so many different things we didn't plan on doing. And we had to lead by example for each other. It's like it was the best thing that could have happened to us. It made us better business owners. It made us better partners. It made us better leaders for each other. We both kind of lead each other by example. And it's been, like I said, there's no real way to kind of measure like what that adversity has been. I don't think there's any other way to become a leader. And like, you have to deal with a certain level of vulnerability, which is not comfortable. But in that discussion, out a lot about yourself and your resolve and what you're resilient to, and thankful that we had that adversity and we were able to be, at the place we are now.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to give your younger self, some advice about leadership or how to become a good leader, based on the experiences that you've had up until this point, what would you say?
Patience is the big one, because obviously when with things would happen with the gym and COVID, like you had this plan, you had this idea, you had this thing that you had goals that you would want to set, and that immediately changed. And then it's easy to get impatient because what you thought was going to be something obviously didn't. And to be a good leader, you have to be flexible. You have to be versatile. You got to be able to navigate different waters. And when things happen, you got to have calm and reserve about yourself. A patience to be able to look, at the broader picture. And like we're fortunate that we came out of that the way we did, and the business thrived after we came out of the shutdowns and everything. But what we learned during the process of that is you couldn't teach it in school. Like we had to learn on the fly, and it forced us to be patient. Like we didn't have an option. Like, hey, things are going to be different now. We have to be patient. And what we look at, how we look at things differently. So like patience is, the big one, because like when you're young, you just so, hey, I want to get out there and get things going. But when you don't have any patience, you miss the mark on a lot of things. You miss really open opportunities. So very, very thankful that we had that happen to us. And then we developed that level of patience to be the best leadership we can be now.
Yeah. And I mean, patience, that's incredible advice. Perseverance kind of comes as the side effect of that, right? And then what about vision? I imagine you have a grand vision for work and what this might look like in the next few years. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Our vision really it's like we hope that we have the courage and the decency to become insignificant uh, and irrelevant. And in that approach, because like what we really want people to learn is like we hope people understand how to take better care of themselves, and they understand to do that on their own power, their own intelligence, and the belief that they can. I think now, because of the content and what people are viewing, especially from like the social media standpoint, you look at something and you're like, oh my goodness, like, is that what I have to do? These are the pros talking and I have to do this. But if you look at it from like what we look at, you're looking at someone who's trying to create content, they're trying to grow a business, they're trying to grow their following, their profile through that. And it's not a bad thing, but I think the overall health and wellness component of it is getting lost in it as people are trying to do different content and try to keep a different wheel going. But for us, we benefit if you don't need us, if you don't have to turn in social media and figure out, well, how do I take better care? You already know what you're doing. And I think if we become more insignificant, we have the decency to become irrelevant. That is my overall vision, where like if you like you want to use us, but you don't need to because you know how to take care of yourself. That's what I have the vision for Jim to be.
Yeah. And so you mentioned social media. I'm curious, do you think social media has impacted the health and wellness space in a positive or negative way?
I think both. I think it's with us especially, and this is where it can kind of get this is where the waters can get a little dicey, is because you don't really need any accreditation to offer advice for health and wellness. It's turned into such a thing where people are going after endorsements, they're going after deals, they're going after apparel. Like a lot of people in the health and fitness industry are trying to get apparel deals. So like their advice is more leaning on like, well, how do I get more likes? How do I get more follows? Not how I tell people what's the simplistic way of taking better care of themselves. Because in that simplicity, you might not get a lot of followers because it's basic, it's not engaging, it's not over the top. And you have young people who don't have an expertise in that, but they look good in pants or they look good without their shirt on. And they're giving people advice. Some of that advice is extremely misguided. But if you look at the following at the top of the page, if it says 2 million, you assume that's an expert in what they're talking about. And they may have no clue about what they're talking about, but they got endorsement deals, they got apparel, they have supplements, they have all these things coming in from it. So I think that component of it has been bad, because I think people are following advice from just popularity and not really paying attention to the overall picture of what they need to do and what is necessary, instead of having some level of accreditation about what you have to say. But I do like that fitness has gone through like a much broader range. You're touching a lot more populations. I love the fact that like we're getting a lot more kids involved with them. We have a lot of kids here to train and like building their confidence, building structure for them, and something like get them away from the video game situation that's been going on. Like when we play video games, okay, but it's never been at this level. So that component, I love the kids. We see a lot of kids in the gym. Like some of our youngest kids are 7 years old, and that's wonderful to see them inside here and not at home in front of the TV screen. So I think there's a balance between the two, but overall I think it's good. But I think not having the expertise and giving advice because your focus is to get endorsement deals, I don't think that's a good part of the industry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. I feel like we could talk about how this industry has changed and been impacted for so much longer. So we'll have to have you back in here. But if you want to learn more about Wurk, Maurice, all of the amazing things he's doing, the incredible insights he has to share, make sure you head over to dailynewsnetwork.com. All of his information will be listed there. And we will see you next time on Legacy of Leaders.